Hello ladies and gentlemen, you're watching NDTV. Social media influencer Orry has been booked along with 7 others for allegedly drinking alcohol at a hotel in Katra, which is a base camp for the Vaishno Devi pilgrimage in Jammu and Kashmir's Riyasi district. Now, Orry and his friends were charged under Section 223 of the Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita for allegedly consuming alcohol within their hotel premises in Katra's Cottage Street area, despite strict regulations that prohibit alcohol and non-vegetarian food. Now, this hotel is located near the Vaishno Devi shrine, and that is why there are these rules that are enforced to maintain sanctity of the sacred pilgrim spot. Now, the incident has gained widespread attention after photos came out showing alcohol bottles on the table, and this has also sparked intense backlash on social media, with several people on the internet condemning this behavior, calling for stricter actions and also demanding a ban on Orry from visiting this religious town. Now, Riyasi's senior police official Ritick Singh has issued strict instructions to take all the accused persons in custody to set an example and to emphasize that drugs and alcohol will not be tolerated at religious sites. Now, a team has also been formed to track down the accused persons. Just recently, we saw celebrity podcaster Ranveer Alabadia's case becoming a big controversy because of the very nature of his comments. So the question we ask today is, as India's influencer culture grows, should there be more sensitization, more self-awareness about one's own political, social and public conduct? Also, should there be more legal safeguards? How can one have checks and balances on an individual adult's behavior? Are influencers really here to inspire us, or is that too much to expect from them? Are they just there seeking attention, battling their own battles? So that's what we will try and discuss tonight. But first, let's listen in to some reactions.
वीडियो क्लिप्स सोशल मीडिया में सर्कुलेट हुआ था और हमें होटल के जीएम के थ्रू भी एक जानकारी, एक कंप्लेंट आई हमारे पुलिस स्टेशन में, जिसमें उन्होंने कहा कि एक ओरी नामक जो एक यूट्यूबर इन्फ्लुएंसर है, कुछ दोस्तों के साथ वहाँ पे होटल में था और उन्होंने शराब का मीन्स कंजम्पशन वहाँ पे किया। और आप जानते हैं कि हमारे जो कटरा टाउन एक होली टाउन है और दुनिया भर के लोग वहाँ पे आते हैं, उनकी आस्था वहाँ पे जुड़ी हुई है। और वहाँ के एक सब डिविजनल मजिस्ट्रेट की एक नोटिफिकेशन के तहत अल्कोहल का वहाँ पे कंजम्पशन और सेल प्रोहिबिटेड है, और उसी नोटिफिकेशन का कॉग्निजेंस लेते हुए हमने उन लोगों के खिलाफ एक पर्चा दायर किया है और उसमें इन्वेस्टिगेशन स्टार्ट की है।
We have a panel of experts joining us. We have SP Vaid, who is a former Director General of Police of the Jammu and Kashmir Police. In fact, Pratishtha Arora also joins us. She's the CEO of Social and Media Matters. We have Tara Deshpande, who's an actor and also a writer. Thank you all of you for joining me on this broadcast. To just understand what this law is all about, SP Vaid, sir, can you tell us what is this law all about? Consumption of alcohol and also non-vegetarian places. In most religious places, is that illegal? And do most people know about this?
Namaskar. See, the district magistrate of the district, that is Riyasi district, Katra falls in Riyasi district, he actually issues an order under Section 144. And that order, if somebody disobeys it, earlier it used to be Section 188 of the IPC, or in J&K it was earlier known as RPC, the Revered Penal Code, which is similar like IPC. But now with the new Bharatiya Nyaya Samhita, I think Section 223 is if somebody does not obey the orders of the executive magistrate, in case of the district, it is a district magistrate. In case of Katra, since it is a subdivision of Riyasi district, so SDM actually repeats the same order of the district magistrate of Riyasi. So it prohibits consumption of liquor and non-vegetarian because of religious sanctity. And it's not happening today. I have been SSP of Udhampur district earlier. This was part of Udhampur district way back 3 decades. So I was later on even as IG Jammu, which actually controls the whole Jammu division, and Director General Police. So this is the Section 223 actually implies that you will be punished for an imprisonment of 1 year and a fine of 2,500 or both, depending on the whoever is the magistrate announcing the punishment. So I think there is a religious sanctity to these places. People have sentiment, and that's why these orders are repeated every year. In fact, once in every month, these orders are repeated, and these are in force. And whoever violates it, actually, the punishment is imposed on him. Okay. So the social influencers must be very, very careful. This is not a picnic spot. Vaishno Devi is not a picnic, so you're not going for picnic there. So if you are going to Patni Top or Gulmarg or Pahalgam, you are free to consume liquor or whatever you want, but you can't do this in Katra. So there is order which is imposed every month in the district of Riyasi for Katra, particularly only holy town of Katra. No other place in Riyasi district or rest of Jammu and Kashmir.
Okay, understood. Tara Deshpande, let me bring you here. It's very interesting whatever Mr. Ved is saying. A lot of these things, even, I wasn't aware of a lot of these things. So I wanted to understand from, Orry is an internet sensation. We have seen him in Coffee with Karan. We have seen him in a lot of reels. So clearly there is a lot of attention on him. Also, he's part of this attention economy where, he also thrives on attention. Tell us, are we as a society largely unforgiving when it comes to these crimes or illegal actions by celebrities? Or is it, is it important for these social media influencers to also come across as people who have complete regard for the laws of the land?
Well, I think, religious sentiments do need to be respected, and the law of the land does need to be respected. But we also know that these are young people. They were sitting in a closed hotel room. They are from outside. They are not from the area. There is a small likelihood that maybe they didn't quite understand the laws, which can be quite complex. Did the hotel inform them of what they were allowed to do or permitted to do? Maybe they thought, you can't drink outside, but in the hotel room, it's okay, it's acceptable. I think the case needs to be looked at in more detail. These aren't perpetual offenders or serious criminals of any kind. They're young people, and young people do make mistakes. They tend to have less sort of reverence for politics and for religion. They tend to be politically incorrect. It's a part of being young. We've all made mistakes. So I think certainly, they should be given a talking to, and maybe the fine or whatever the law is. But I think imprisonment is very, very harsh. I'm sure that they will apologize and be sorry for what they've done. But a little bit more looking into the case in detail to see what led to this might be a good thing to do.
Right. Pratish Arora, what do you feel about this, ma'am? Because, clearly, like what Mr. Ved was saying, and also what Tara is also saying, there needs to be, so there are these sentiments which have been hurt. There's also law that has been violated. And also these are young people who have come, who probably may not really know what was happening. And they also need to have regard for the laws. So they also need to be apologetic. They need to understand what they've done is wrong. How do you understand the gravity of something like this, and also ensure that we don't come across as completely as scrutinizing the celebrities just too much?
Yeah, thank you. I think so. Many of the influencers like Orry and others are seen as role models for many young generations as well, right? Doing such kind of an incident does make an impact to them that, if they are doing it, then probably, we can also do it. So that kind of an impact, it leaves an impact on them. So to be very crucial on what you are posting on social media, especially because this can take to different tangents as well. The recent case of Parth Raina has taken a different curve. So we need to understand, especially these influencers, also what they're posting. I totally, I'm totally in favor of freedom of expression. But then when it comes to rules and regulations, we also need to adhere to them. That what are these platforms, because it has gone on socials. We also need to understand the community standards that these platforms have defined. What is the content that can go up on the platforms that needs to be taken care of. So somewhere or the other, as an influencer, I totally, I'm on the path that, we can express what we feel like, because it's a very restricted kind of a place. It's a very holy place. There are many religious sentiments that are attached for many others as well. So keeping that in mind, I think so as a person who's been working in this field, this has taken a very different kind of a curve for many influencers as well, and this can impact the lives of other influencers. So making it more positive content that can go up on socials is something that needs to be thought about, especially by these influencers.
Right. Mr. Ved, also help us understand, how do you see this case proceeding from here on, sir? Because a police team has been, set up to take further action. In fact, there are police officials who have openly said that there will be strict action that will be taken against them. All the accused have to be brought in. How do you see this case proceeding from here? Because in the case of Ranveer Alabadia, we saw the cases landing up in the court. Some of them are still going on. In this case, what do you think will happen next?
See, I was listening to Tara and also Pratishta. They have a viewpoint. I agree with them. Maybe Orry may not be knowing about the legal position in Katra, but then it is in a prominent place in the hotels and in guest houses. It is generally displayed that this thing is prohibited in this town. Maybe the magistrate, when police presents him before the magistrate, he can take a lenient view and reduce the punishment, or maybe give a warning and leave them. That is absolutely his prerogative, the magistrate's prerogative. But if it is a deliberate act, my own view is the hotel should not have. The manager in the hotel knew about it. Because he is running a hotel there, so he should not have served liquor if the hotel has served it. And if they had brought with them, then yes, you thinking that they may not be knowing about the rule, they can be a lenient view can be taken. But I was listening to the SSP of Riyasi and Ranveer Singh. I think he has no option but to take legal action, because that is the law here, and everyone is expected to observe. The ignorance of law is no excuse in our country. So one has to go as per the law. The police officer has no option but to register an FIR, investigate the matter, and present before the magistrate.
Right. Tara, also help us understand, do celebrities and influencers face undue pressure to behave ethically at all times? Because even in this case, the matter became a controversy because photos started surfacing. And also, when I look at reels on Insta, on influencers, there is often this comment by viewers that says, "Kaun si duniya mein rehte hain?" Which world do they live in? So is there a sense of mismatch between the world that they live in and the world that actually exists?
It's a paradoxical situation, because on one hand you have people saying celebrities do whatever they want and the law never touches them. And then on the other extreme, you have a situation where they are punished, or so much of the spotlight is put on them, and all kinds of memes are made and all kinds of ridiculous actions are taken against them to make them into examples. To set an example, they are more harshly treated or harshly punished. So somewhere you have to find a median. But one of the things that I wanted to say is, this term influencer, it's, just because a person has a large following doesn't necessarily mean that the people who follow him or follow her or whoever it may be, treat them as role models. Sometimes people just follow them because it's funny or because it's ludicrous. I mean, if you look at the kind of garbage that there is out there on social media today, very little of it is actually instructional or of value. So how many people will you go after for on the basis of the fact that somebody is a role model? Yes, I think that they should have been more careful. They should have certainly been more respectful. But at the same time, I think, the law has to decide now what has to be done. And I do hope they're lenient, because these aren't like serious criminals. I do understand that religious sentiments were hurt, but that's again a broad description. Because, if someone had said, they were drinking and driving, my opinion would be just throw away the key, give them the harshest punishment possible. Because there are real consequences to drinking and driving. There are real consequences to peddling drugs. There are real consequences to, for instance, acting violently when you're drunk. Right. But I feel personally, and maybe this is because, I'm, the kids, so I feel bad for them. I feel very bad for their parents that it's come to this. They must be terrified, their child being arrested by the police. So I do hope that the judge is lenient and
Right.
people understand that celebrities are also human beings. And I hope the people who have influence understand that they have to be very, very careful now, because there are so many ways of looking at a single post. It
Right.
really depends on who's reading it, right? How they interpret it.
Right.
So it's a tough situation to be in.
Right. Pratisha, I've never been in favor of more laws. We already have the BNS, we have parts of the IT Act, we already have the IT rules. Now, this is also a game of getting more clicks when it comes to social media influencers. Is it also important to look at the way attention economy works? Because Orry thrives on attention. He's a product of social media, somebody, who is known as Bollywood's BFF. We see him on Reels. How important is it to also look at the attention economy that thrives on shares, retweets, and just the fact that you're getting attention?
I think so that plays a very big role, because social media is all about attention somewhere or the other. So you're gaining your popularity because on the number of interactions that you are having, based on retweets, based on shares, based on likes, that totally gains your attention over there. So somewhere or the other, see, we all have that presence over there because we want that attention, we want that limelight, we want to be more popular, not because of the kind of acts that we are doing in these public spaces, but for good work as well, right? The idea of these social media platforms was not just to create any sort of a harm, or there was no intent to create ruckus on these platforms. It was just a medium for us to interact, for us to engage, right? But now it has taken a very different shape when we are talking about even digital harms, digital safety on different in different spaces as well. So somewhere or the other, of course, even this will go live, we'll get some kind of an attention over there as well, like all three of us, all the speakers over here, right? So somewhere or the other, it is attached to it. So we need to kind of draw that line.
Right. SP Ved, last word from you, sir. How do you see the case proceeding, and what are the learnings from here on to not just social media influencers, but also something that you pointed out, pilgrim spots being treated with the kind of sanctity, with the kind of respect they deserve, because they're not picnic spots?
Yeah, I'm in favor of taking a lenient view. I hope the judge takes that. But I think more publicity is needed. Maybe a person coming from South India or maybe coming from Mumbai may not know about it. It needs to be either prominently displayed all over the town, because just issuing an order doesn't mean everyone is expected to know it. So, though the law of the land is, ignorance of law is no excuse here. So if tomorrow I violate some law, I'm liable to whatever penalties are under the law. But I'm expected to know the law. But as a common citizen also, today I'm a retired police officer. I'm a retired, all four of you, all three of you. So I'm a common citizen. So I'm supposed to observe the law wherever I go. So similarly, the social media influencers, because of the kind of attention they get, they need to be extra careful. They have to be sensitive to, because they wield a lot of influence, and whatever they do, millions of youngsters follow them.
Right.
So look at the episode of unfortunate incident of Ranveer. I have been on his podcast, Ranveer Allahabadia, and such a he is a bright young man.
Right.
And I have been to Mumbai on his podcast, and look at the kind of unfortunate thing came out of his mouth. I think that had a very, very bad effect on not only the parents, even the youth of this country. So these kind of things cannot be allowed.
Right. Tara Deshpande, closing remarks from you, ma'am. Also, while we talk about social media influencers being far more sensible and mindful of Indian sensibilities, is there also a need for lawmakers to understand that there's a generational shift, and it's important for policy makers, lawmakers to also understand what trends are, what Insta is, what kind of reels are, and what kind of influence that these social media guys could be having on lives and lifestyles? else?
Well, the entire world is grappling with this situation because having more followers, you're monetizing, you're making money, you're becoming famous, you are getting endorsements, you are doing collaborations. It is an economy, within your phone, within your laptop. So there are consequences for that. But at the same time, it's very complicated because the person may be in one country, but his views are being seen by people in many, many countries. In one country, that may be illegal. In another country, it may not be illegal. It has really complicated matters. I mean, look at the Andrew Tate case, right? Look at so many cases that have come up where there are very serious crimes being committed by people who have influence over their followers. I mean, it's sort of like those cults that used to exist in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, where, religious cults where they had this massive influence over their followers and made them do terrible things. Now, this is sort of perpetuated without boundaries, without walls,
Right.
all across the world. So it is much more serious than ever before.
Right.
So I think maybe, some kind of global understanding is needed, just as we're trying to sort of all collaborate.
Understanding and
climate
restraint
change.
seem to be the way forward. Thank you all of you for joining me on this broadcast. Social media influencer Orry has been booked along with 7 others for allegedly drinking alcohol at a hotel in Katra in J&K. We'll have to wait and see how this case proceeds investigation-wise and also in courts. But the larger question is on the kind of attention that attention economy deserves, because it takes center stage with respect to shares and likes, and that is something that needs to be talked about.